Do you have such acquaintances whose life, judging by social networks, is just perfect? Sometimes we don't like such people, do we? But this way of thinking is harmful, and today we will talk about how to change it. It would seem that, what harm can a fleeting envy of a friend on Instagram cause? Well, research shows that it can lead to depression. And this is just one of the mental traps. Interestingly, the envious person does not realize that he is jealous. All researchers have come to this point of view. That is why the envious person is dangerous. He sincerely believes that he is driven by some noble motives, the desire for justice. And the fact that the envious person is driven by envy is noticeable to everyone except himself.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel, Healthy Lifestyle. On this channel we talk about a healthy lifestyle, proper nutrition, fitness, training, longevity, health, happy life, and about everything that is useful for us and for our family. Well, a little bit about what is not useful or even harmful. Join us and you will definitely learn something new, so watch the video until the end. It will be very interesting, useful and amazing. Write comments, express your opinion, share videos with friends and like. And don't forget to click on the bell so as not to miss useful new items. Thanks. Good luck to you and good health.
Let's look at 3 types of destructive beliefs that steal our fortitude. The first type is harmful beliefs about yourself. Many of us like to feel sorry for ourselves. Feeling sad after bad events is perfectly normal, but slipping into self-pity is unnecessary. The fact is that this is how we inflate our grief. We start to think that something bad is always happening to us. It's not fair, why should we go through it? As a result, we find ourselves at a dead end and focus on the problem, not the solution. Yes, there are situations when it is impossible to find a solution, but you can still always take small steps to improve your life. But self-pity does not allow this to be done. Pity is the shifting of responsibility for one's own life to other people, the expectation that someone will come, help and save. It is not easy to raise an independent person. An adult needs a lot of patience and endurance. Self-pity is part of the learned helplessness syndrome. This is when a person regularly feels like a victim. In any case, the concept is completely destructive and does not bring anything good. There is always passivity in pity, and actions are needed for the result. She's demobilizing. Some people confuse this concept with a feeling of self-love. To love means to take care of yourself on your own, to have self-respect and the knowledge that you are coping with your own life. The second type is harmful beliefs at someone else's expense. Some of us give other people too much power over ourselves. But in fact there are very few things that we are obliged to do. For example, when you say that your mother-in-law drives you crazy, you give away your power. Even if she is a really unpleasant person, you can decide how to react to her. It is in your power. Even if a loved one criticizes you unreasonably, and his remarks are unfair, always be reasonable and calm. The situation will not improve if the participants in the dialogue are excessively emotional or aggressive. The best solution is to calm down and give a reasoned answer. It's not worth paying attention to. Don't let others attack you without any reason. However, you need to be able to forgive, since it is very difficult, and sometimes even impossible, to prove anything to people who criticize for no reason. The third type of beliefs that hinder us are harmful beliefs about the world. The world doesn't owe us anything, and we don't have to think the opposite. The belief that if you try very hard, you will definitely succeed, can lead to disappointment. All the norms of behavior in this world, all the rules are needed not by the world, but by ourselves, in order to live happily in it. At the same time, since we ourselves are parts of this world, each of us has a need to create something. Everything that happens in this world happens for a reason. We've all heard something similar. The famous philosopher Aristotle spoke about it best a few thousand years ago. So, all these types of beliefs are harmful psychological habits. And we should get rid of them, because there will surely be moments in life when we will need great strength of spirit. At the age of 23, psychotherapist Amy Morin was absolutely happy and did not expect a trick from life. She had a beloved husband, Lincoln, a favorite job, and recently bought a house. But one of the usual days, her sister called her. She said their mother was in the hospital. It turned out that a 51-year-old woman, who had never complained about her health, had a brain aneurysm, and she died soon after. Amy Morin had to apply her knowledge of how to deal with grief. And on the third anniversary of her mother's death, she went with Lincoln to a basketball game. It so happened that the game took place in the same hall where Amy saw her mother for the last time. After the match, Lincoln became ill and lost consciousness. He had a heart attack and died. He was 26 years old, just like Amy was then. She became a 26-year-old widow without a mother. Then Amy realized that in difficult moments of life there are not enough useful psychological habits because just a couple of bad habits can lead to a dead end. A few years later, Amy remarried. His name was Steve. But some time later, his father was diagnosed with cancer. Once again, Amy had to overcome difficulties. When Steve's father passed away, Amy already had a list of bad psychological habits to get rid of in order to avoid dead ends. In fact, the power of the spirit is similar to physical strength. We go to the gym to get stronger, but if we do not give up the wrong diet, then the effectiveness of classes drops sharply. It's the same with psychology. Good habits alone will not help, and it is necessary to discard harmful ones. So how do I do it? How to teach your brain to think differently? First, you need to counter unhealthy views with healthy views. Remember we talked about the first type of harmful beliefs. These are beliefs at your own expense. So, they arise when our feelings give us discomfort. Feelings such as fear, anxiety, sadness, anger or resentment are unpleasant to us. And what are we doing? We try to avoid them. Get distracted. One option is to feel sorry for yourself. And even though it becomes easier for us for a while, in fact we only prolong the pain. Amy Morin claims that the only way to deal with unpleasant emotions is to go through them. Allow yourself to experience sadness and move on. You will realize that you are able to get through this. Now we recall the second type of harmful beliefs, beliefs about others. They arise when we compare ourselves with other people. And here we either blame them for our failures, or we believe that they are better or worse than us, or that they can control our feelings, or that we can control their behavior. Amy says it really depends on our choice. 2 important points: accept that you are an independent person, and other people are separate from you. And secondly, do not compare yourself with anyone other than yesterday's self. And the third pernicious belief about the world. Yes, we want justice. I want to believe that if you do something good, then nothing bad will happen to you, and you will get good in return. That hard trials will certainly bring a reward in the end. I understand. I want all this too. But in fact, the world is unfair. And this is not necessarily exceptionally bad knowledge. Think about it more broadly. Yes, good deeds are not always rewarded, but on the other hand, suffering also does not last forever. And your world can be changed. But you have to believe it. Amy worked with a man who had diabetes. His harmful psychological habits began to affect his physical condition. The fact is that the man assured himself that he was doomed since his mother died early from complications caused by diabetes. He just stopped monitoring his sugar levels. He knew what he had to do, but he thought it was not worth the effort, and it was all in vain. At the same time, he was getting worse. At some point, he finally agreed to take a small step towards health. He decided to stop drinking 2 liters of soda a day, replacing it with a diet version. And positive changes began to take place. Then he thought about other habits. I started eating less ice cream, started doing exercise on an exercise bike. As a result, he not only lost weight, his eyesight, which had suffered due to diabetes, began to improve. In the end, he believed that he could change his world. He stopped feeling sorry for himself, a pernicious belief about himself, stopped comparing himself with his mother, a pernicious belief about others, and stopped believing that everything is predetermined, a pernicious belief about the world. And it all started with one small step. Now think about your life. What harmful psychological habits prevent you from living? What prevents you from becoming psychologically stable? And what small step can you take right here and now? And in conclusion, I will tell you 10 tips for strengthening the psyche from the American Psychological Association. First, create effective connection. Strong relationships strengthen psychological stability. You will always know that in case of trouble, you have someone to support. Communicate with sensitive and understanding people and avoid callous people. High-quality relationships with family, friends or colleagues allow you to create your own social support network. Accepting help from people who really care about you increases psychological resilience. In a difficult situation, you will know that you are not alone. Support will give you the strength to face the circumstances. Second, avoid the tendency to perceive crises as insurmountable problems. We cannot avoid stress, but we can change our reaction and interpretation. Try to look beyond the current situation. Who knows what will happen in the future? You can't change the fact that stressful events happen. However, you can change your reaction to them and their interpretation. Even if these steps seem small, do them regularly. Very soon you will be much closer to what you want to achieve. 5. Make decisions that will help you face your challenges. It is impossible to completely withdraw from problems and stresses. Act in adverse situations as effectively as you can. You may not win, but you can always learn something if you are open and curious enough. Third, accept that change is a natural and inevitable part of life. As the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, everything moves and nothing stays in place. It's normal that some plans no longer attract. It's normal to feel disappointed. It is important to try to make the most of the current state of affairs and not focus on the bad. Accepting circumstances that cannot be changed can help you focus on circumstances that you can change. Changes are usually divided into good and bad. To what extent are these definitions, in principle, appropriate for changes? Changes are quite an energy-consuming area that requires time, emotional and other investments. Often, the main task of a psychologist is to help a person realize that changes in the personal or professional sphere are inevitable. They are already underway, and the sooner we remove the resistance to the events taking place, the sooner we will develop a constructive plan and adapt to the new reality. Fourth, move towards your own, realistic, goals. Do not pay attention to distant unattainable tasks. It is better to take small steps every day in the desired direction. Break the big problems into pieces. Even small steps, if taken regularly, will bring you closer to the global goal. Actions aimed at achieving realistic goals contribute to the development of self-confidence, organize human activity in a certain direction and provide freedom of choice. Striving for a goal is one of the opportunities to gain control over your own life. It is very useful to note your own progress. The easiest way to do this is by allocating a few minutes each week specifically to mentally track how things are going. How to set achievable goals. What prevents us from moving forward towards our goals and joyfully achieving them? The fact that we initially put them incorrectly. Fifth, look for opportunities for self-realization. Sometimes it is in stressful circumstances that strong personal qualities are revealed in a person. After experiencing a crisis, you will get an increased sense of self-worth, more inner strength, and so on. The only way to cope with a difficult situation is to live and work out unpleasant feelings so as not to be afraid of them. This means to fully feel the sadness and grief, and then move on. And in order to direct thoughts in the opposite direction, try to analyze the situation in more detail, from the standpoint of logic and constructiveness. Remember this in difficult moments. Sixth, help others. Whether you're volunteering at a local homeless shelter or just supporting a friend in a difficult moment, helping other people will help you gain a sense of purpose, boost self-esteem and build relationships. All this will strengthen your psychological stability. To become happier, you need to help others. Helping others often distracts us from our own problems and makes us feel grateful for what we have. It is impossible to know how true this is, but it is possible to know well the feeling that we feel when we help someone and see the difference. Something happens, we get a sense of satisfaction and happiness, we experience a surge of energy and purposefulness. 7th, maintain an optimistic outlook on life. It's hard to keep positive when life isn't going the way you want. Psychologists advise you to visualize what you want and not worry about what you are afraid of. Pay attention to any ways that help you feel better in difficult times. Use past experience and realize that you can also overcome this trouble. Optimism, from Latin Optimus, the best, a view of life from a positive point of view, confidence in a better future. The optimist claims that the world is wonderful, that a person can realize many of his dreams and achieve many goals, despite the troubles, that there is a way out of almost any situation, everything will turn out well, all people, in general, are good. I am often told that I am too optimistic and look at the world through rose-colored glasses. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the fact that I find advantages even in the worst moments of my life? 8th, take care of yourself. Pay attention to your own needs and feelings. Stress affects not only emotions, but also the body. Stimulate positive lifestyle factors, proper nutrition, proper sleep, regular exercise. Yoga and meditation will also help reduce anxiety and depressive symptoms. Regular muscle work allows you to normalize the balance of excitation and inhibition processes in the nervous system and has a beneficial effect on the blood flow and exchange of neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, GABA, etc., in the brain. Since ancient times, it has been noticed that mentally ill people engaged in physical labor recovered faster in comparison with patients engaged in intellectual loads. The most universal way to protect the psyche is regular physical education. At least 30 minutes 2 times a day. 9th, accept people as they are and move forward. In trying to change others, we spend a lot of effort and energy. Even stupid little things in the behavior of others make us angry and infuriate us. Can't you accept another person for who they are? Then it is better to minimize communication as much as possible. Otherwise, a feeling of irritation will engulf you, turning you into an unhappy person. However, in some other situations, you need to move forward and accept other people as they are, and this will lead to gaining new freedom and healthier relationships with them. Sometimes it's useful to tell others about how they make you feel in the hope that they will change. But this is not always possible, and sometimes it is easier to accept a person as he is. 10th, spiritual development. The concepts of good and evil, the definition of the meaning of life for oneself, the inevitability of death, questions of faith and much more that belong to the highest human moral categories, these questions sooner or later arise before every person. The evolution of each person in these important topics is an integral factor in strengthening the psyche. Thanks for watching the video. Write comments, express your opinion, share videos with friends and like. And don't forget to click on the bell so as not to miss useful new items. Thanks. Good luck to you and good health.